Story number 4. Does the power of the media and protesters really change anything? UK politician suspended after grabbing a Greenpeace protester by the neck. Politicians are getting fed up and they are pimping the citizens. They are grabbing them and telling them we got to calm down because we may lose this whole thing. I know you have to remember the politician who slammed the reporter. And then people start to protest, but doesn't solve anything. Burning things down, dragging people through the streets, cops throwing tear gas, frustration at its highest level. They talk about Honduras protesters and how the military had to be deployed after a violent protest. Folks, this is serious stuff. The revolutionary protests by the Sudanese people claiming that activists were killing and raping their women. I know everybody remembers the Rodney King protests or the protests that happened in Baltimore constantly. Numerous protesters, when we talked about police brutality. These protests, do they solve anything? Do they get anything done? Burning down cities, defying the judicial process, not wanting to go through the proper process of governing, of the why the judicial system has been put in place. Some people at the end of the day have also found that the protests have been in vain, that the fact that the person who they were protesting for was actually guilty. Or they even, I mean, there's a lot of things happening, but the question we have to ask yourself is protest, does it solve anything? The media says that Trump made 15 false claims in over 76 minutes at an Orlando rally. There's a lot of heat on this president, a lot of heat. And the question is when we ask him, is his heart really into the game? The man gets up and he we saw it with the Obama administration, constant diversity put towards the person who's put in the seat of, was elected. So we have to ask ourselves, when we rebel against the system, does protest solve the problem, or does doing it the legal way solve it, or the peaceful way? Or even when you look at the nonviolent movements, the nonviolent protests, did it solve anything? Reports about how teachers are exhausted and because they've been striking and protesting constantly, but will it change anything in regards to pay raises, the competition from charter schools? Will this change anything? Does protesting solve the problem? Or does it add more fuel to the fire? It's a question that we have to ask ourselves. Does it help to sit in a room after you know your whole life you've been beat up, dragged through the streets by many things? You've lived in the slums of society. Sometimes you found yourself homeless with nowhere to go, and your mother brings you in. Then you come into a studio every Sunday to put out your voice. Never striking a fist, never getting upset, but taking the heat for the greater good of the public. And you have to ask yourself, would I be a better person if I were to show anger, to show aggression, to start using violence to get what I want in this life? Would that change anything? Or does it pay to be nonviolent, peaceful, to let nature, with the Bruce Lee, let nature take its course? Be like water, my friend. Questions that we ask ourselves every day. If you want to contribute, you're in the media with me, Brian West. We're at the halfway point of, and if you want to help me out anyway, all you have to do is visit www.method8inc.com, method8inc.com, where you can buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something. These are the top 8 headlines and developing news stories that made it in, and I can take every little bit of help that I can get. Every cent, every dollar that you want to contribute helps. I don't ask for much in this life. I really don't.
If you need help, then dial your operator.
Have no fear, fellow citizens. The Mediator is here.